champion is clad in big orange.
At Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
Tennessee Volunteers have wrapped up an SEC outright regular season title. Connect with
the SEC runs through Rocky Top. Tennessee wins the SEC regular season crown for the 2nd consecutive season.
the 1-0. Indiana, right center field. Watch on the move. Walk it there. Tennessee walks it off. It's a mismatch. Deep three. Come on now. And don't connect. Robbie Draghi this time. Indeed. New hand jam. Down the middle. Got it. The fly is high and again. And he's going to take it. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Hey, how much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top, this is college football at its absolute
best. This is college athletics at its absolute best. Welcome into a Sunday. No, it's Thursday night. You already know what it is. It is the Vol Fanatics Show, 8 p.m. Eastern, which means we are live. Yes, that's right. You heard us right. We did a big schedule change to accommodate our schedules as well as y'all's. We've heard some feedback. Thursday night in the midweek is definitely going to be better for everybody. So this is our first one. It works out better for us because with this baseball schedule, let me tell you, Michael, this is hard. It was hard to get a show in, wasn't it?
Man, we tried so hard on Sunday to get a show in, but you know, with the schedule the way it was, I figured it was going to be an afternoon game.
Yeah.
But then, of course, with the losers bracket, it didn't work out. So Sunday didn't work out, and during the game, we're like, all right, we're playing on the Monday show. Tennessee drops the game. We're like, well, we're not going to go live during the middle of the game.
I'm telling you.
So let's see if we can do it a different day. You asked about Tuesday. I'm like, man, I work late Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so it doesn't work. What about Thursday? Man, let's do it Thursday.
Let's do it Thursday.
Yeah, so then you came to me, and you were just like, what if we just make that permanent? I'm like, dude, I'm all for it. So Thursdays is going to be the new day that the Vol Fanatics Show goes live. It's going to take some getting used to, that's for sure. We've had a lot of loyal viewers, listeners, and all that on Sundays. Who knows? We might end up doing some little pop-up shows every once in a while on Sunday, depending on,
Maybe
what all's going on. But right now, Thursday is going to be the main day for our lives. But before we get on into all that, and before I ask Skylar, how he's doing and all that, do want to show you guys, Skylar and I actually were finally able to get together and play that round of golf that we've been talking about.
That somebody owed me?
I sure did. And let me tell you, man, it was a fantastic time that the two of us had with your dad and grandfather as well. Had a great time. Of course, had to rush a little bit on the back nine just to try to get all 18 in. But, played fairly well too. And I'm still going to die on the hill of if we did not rush through the last 4 holes, we beat them.
I mean, yeah. Couldn't get off the tee box. I mean, it just got a little tired, fatigue set in. And no, it was a great time was had. Especially for me. It's a free round. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for folks that don't know, so in the fall, Michael and I for the last 2 years have been doing SEC pick'ems basically, but we keep our record, we track it. It's a competition at the end of the day because we're competitive guys. But can you say? And Michael's 0-2. I mean, I hate to put it to you like that, but buddy, I'm expecting great things from you this year. No, I'm joking. We actually went into I guess you could say overtime. We were tied until the very last weekend. And then of course I took the win in the overalls through the playoffs because the Vols made it all the way there. And yeah, so it was great. Got a round in. It was fun. We did lose. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But anyways, no, man, Michael, it was great catching up with you out at basically Chapel Hill area. So
yeah, exactly, man. But we got a loaded show for you guys tonight.
That's right.
Vols by 20 this week. I would absolutely love that.
Tennessee Football 247's schedule change, no problem. I'm still there as soon as y'all get started. I love that, man. That shows me one thing. He's got them noties turned on. If you guys don't get that done, click that bell. You will never miss when we go live. We appreciate you, Tennessee Football 247. Vols by 20 this week. I like it. I thought he was meaning like Vols in 2, but no. I mean, if we win by 20, that's fine too. Just 2 run rules, 10-0, 10-0. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, totally fine with that.
But we'll get into all that. We got to wrap up, obviously, the great season that the Lady Vols had in the softball diamond. But before we do that, Michael, are you cool if I go ahead and shout out our presenting sponsor?
Man, let's have you give us our show sponsor, man.
That's right. It's Chris Smith Insurance. As a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company. So he started his own agency, where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance in Oak Ridge today. Give him a call at 865-272-3387. Again, guys, Chris isn't the agent that's just going to find you the cheapest rate. He's going to find you the cheapest rate at the best coverage to make sure that if those accidents and when those accidents do happen, that you are properly insured and you do not have anything to worry about. Chris, man, thank you so much for your continued support on the show and allowing us to do what we love to do, man. Michael, give us the rundown. I kind of did it in a hybrid way, but if you want to let us know what segment is which, and then we'll get on to it.
Yeah, so segment 1, we are going to wrap up the softball season. Unfortunate end of the season, but still a fantastic run. I mean, top 4 finish. You can't beat that, other than national champions. But we'll get into all that. But that's the end of that's going to be segment 1. Segment 2, we are going to recap the Knoxville Regional for baseball, as there was a lot of fireworks and everything else going on in that regional. And segment 3, we are going to preview the Arkansas Super Regional this weekend and what is sure to have even more fireworks going on this weekend. But before we get into all that, I will give you our segment 1 sponsor. You already know it is Optimal Asbestos Services. Optimal Asbestos Services offers detailed asbestos inspections and air quality assessments. Whether you're looking to secure your home or workplace, you can trust Optimal Asbestos Services to deliver thorough and reliable solutions. You can contact Jeff Mold at 865-223-3297 for your consultation today, or go on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So, Skylar, unfortunate start here to the College World Series, as Tennessee had this game won
easily. 3-1 going into the 7th inning. Ladies doing everything you could possibly ask them to do. But as much as I know, when you're carrying the lead going into the final inning, how hard not just the first out is, but also that third out. And cost the Lady Radios in this one. Lady Vols, sorry. Whoa, alma mater. Lady Vols in this one. Sorry.
Yeah, it did. And, I heard lots of people saying, should have walked her. She's already hit 1 home run in the game.
Yeah.
Should have walked her, put her on, load the bases.
Seen a lot of hate towards Karen Weekly after this game. 100%.
And I get that point, but at the same time, you've got the best pitcher in the nation on the mound. And you're going to trust her to try to when you got the best pitcher in the universe on the mound, you're going to trust her to try to get the girl out. It's just unfortunate because Carly Pickens here lately, she's had a bit of a problem with that rise ball, just not getting it high enough. And anybody that knows softball knows that with that rise ball, and even baseball too, with those high pitches like that, if you can get the barrel to it, that ball's going somewhere.
You don't have to swing it hard.
No, you don't. And both home runs that she hit in this game, let me find what her name is. It is Parker. Let's see, line up. Ella Parker. Both home runs that she hit in this contest were on the rise ball. She got that barrel up there and just left the yard with them. She's definitely the one who had the most success in the game, and she was 2 for 4 on the day for Oklahoma. And there was only 4 girls that got a hit in this contest for Oklahoma. You had Cassidy Pickering. She was 1 for 4 on the day. Gabby Garcia, 1 for 3, and then Sydney Barker was 1 for 3 as well. Now, Carly Pickens did have a little bit of problems with walks. She had 4 walks in the contest as well. So, I mean, it was a multitude of things, but Tennessee did what they needed to win the contest. They just didn't pull it out in the end because of that walk-off home run.
Yeah, and you got to give Ella props. I mean, she literally
yeah.
carried Oklahoma to this win. Yeah, Carlin, you mentioned it. The Rise Ball just had some struggle with it pretty much all week. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, this one was a gut punch that, honestly, going into the World Series, this was huge. I mean, it kind of sucked to draw Oklahoma in game one, just because. I mean, they've won 4 in a row, so it's like, all right, we're gonna have to take on Goliath right off the bat, But in this game, the way we lost, literally a 3-run home run. I mean, it ended the game stone cold. Like one mistake, boom, done. And I mean, Michael, I don't know about you, but I as a fan, I had done pretty much threw in the towel. I was like, I know we got another game, but I don't see how you come back from that when you literally had the game in hand to go in the winner's bracket. And now you're fighting for your life for the rest of the week because of how that game ended. I mean, it was wild, man.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Anytime that you lose a game one like that and you have to try to fight your way out of the loser's bracket, it's hard to do. And especially when you get put in the same side of the bracket as Oklahoma, who has won 4 straight titles, as Texas, who has made the national championship game, made it last year, and I think made the semifinals the year before last, something like that. I mean, just they're also a powerhouse. And then Florida, who hasn't won it since 17, but is constantly in the thick of it for making the Women's College World Series and competing for a title. It's tough to go down 1-0 to some of these teams, have to fight your way out. And, ultimately, I was kind of like you. As soon as they lost to Oklahoma, I was like, man, I still think we can do it. We've got the best pitcher on the planet. Absolutely, we can do it. But is the bat going to be there the whole time?
And that's another good point. You bring up Carlin Pickens, and I think at this point you knew she was throwing every opportunity, but like she had thrown 129 pitches in this game, and now you're having to turn around and play the very next day rather than getting that day break when you win and whatnot. And that was something that kind of, worried me a little bit. Like obviously it's softball; they could probably throw to infinity as long as they're capable, but at some point, I mean. Going into game 2 against Florida, which is not really a good draw either. I mean, Florida's a dang good team. But you had Carlin coming off nearly 130 pitches and having to pitch right around the next day. I just wondered how that was going to be handled, but clearly they handled it pretty well.
Yeah, as going into game 2, after that big victory there, or after the unfortunate loss to Oklahoma, Tennessee does get a bounce back run rule victory against rival Florida, 11-3. And this was one where, you started Carly Pickens. You're like, all right, got to go with the best. Make sure that we get the win. And she got a much needed break during the game. And she only threw 1 inning in the contest because that's all that she really needed to. Tennessee up 7-0 at the end of the first inning. And the bats just they just kept flowing in this game. And then the pitching behind Carlin with Sage Marjetko and then Aaron Newer, it was exactly what Tennessee needed to just hold Florida off and make sure that they could move on to the next game.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to think we only had 4 opportunities to bat, and we scored in every single one of those opportunities. That is. Where's this offense been? I mean, we scored 7 runs in the first inning, 0 recorded outs. I think we batted around nearly without even getting an out. And I mean, that just amazing way to start the game. If you're Florida, I mean, how do you respond to that? You're down 7-0 after the first inning, and I know them ladies were like, well, we're going home early. Like, there's no way. Like, Tennessee, they responded to that loss about the best way you could ever imagine. And you got exactly what you needed from the top lady. I mean, Sophia Nugent, welcome back. She didn't go long. I mean, the super, she was amazing. And she come right back with a 2-for-3 day with a home run, 2 runs, RBI. And she wasn't the only one, as you had Laura Mueller go 2-for-3. And Boo Gibson had a home run, 2 RBI, and a 1-for-2 day. Alana Leach, came in 2 for 3 with a double and 4 RBI. That bases clearing, I think she got a bases clearing double. Just massive bats at the plate, which, yeah, like you said, gave Carlin Pickens, after pitching 130 pitches the day before, being able to only go in for 1 inning and then basically say, hey, lady, this is up to y'all. But Florida, man, I think after that first inning punch, really was just kind of out of it. But before we continue, man, Big Orange, he's in the pod. He's here. He's listening. He says, you boys think we getting back to Omaha? We're going to be talking about it here in a little bit. But, I mean, let me say this. I ain't going to answer because obviously that would kind of spoil our next segments. But I think it's going to be a spicy series.
It definitely will be.
It's going to be a spicy series.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun, though.
But, to your point about the Lady Vols here's how the first inning went down. Single, walk, single, double. 8th batter in the lineup finally flies out. 9th batter, single. And then after batting around, Gabby Leach grounded into a double play to end the inning. So, yeah, it was, let's see. Also,
grounding into double plays for the softball and baseball team is got to be the most worst. That's the worst thing we do as baseball and softball teams is grounding into double plays.
Yeah. So I actually messed it up. So the very first hit of the inning was a triple, not a single.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits in the inning, 7 runs. There was 1 error that Florida had in this inning, and after the double play, believe it or not, there were 0 runners left on base. So every single runner that Tennessee had on base in that first inning scored after the double play knocked Kinsey Fiedler out on the play.
Was this a result of Tennessee just locking in? Or was this Florida not being able to pitch their ace if they did? What happened in this game? I mean, Florida's a really good softball team and just completely flopped in this. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the Lady Vols here, but my goodness. I mean, was it solely just because they got punched in the mouth and they didn't know how to respond?
I really think that this was the Lady Vols after the way that the game ended the day before. They were like, we are not going to let this happen again. I really think it was just them locked in. And when Tennessee punched, I mean, they threw a haymaker in that first inning, putting up 7 runs, and Florida had no response. And in this game, Tennessee, when that haymaker was thrown, they stepped on the throat and they slowly pressed down and did not let up. And that was shown by the fact that Tennessee, like you said, they scored in every single inning and only allowed the 1 inning where there was 3 runs scored. But then Tennessee ended up run ruling them in that 5th inning because of the 8 runs after 5. So I really credit this to Tennessee. Was Florida maybe off their game a little bit? Did they throw their ace? Not 100% certain on all that, but I mean,
you come out, you score 7 runs. Florida really didn't get a hit in the first inning. I think Carlin walked a couple, so there was traffic on the bases. But then they finished that inning getting K'd up twice in a row with runners on base. You score 7. You come back with a different pitcher in the 2nd inning and go 1, 2, 3. Florida was done. There was nothing they could do at that point. It was a great game from start to finish from the Lady Vols, and quite the response I needed to see because, like I said, dude, I hadn't done tossed it. I think I texted you and was like, yeah, they're not responding. There's no way after that type of loss that they're going to make a run. But I was proven wrong. I'm glad to be proven wrong as they advance to the quarterfinals.
Yeah,
technically.
I believe you would call it the quarterfinals
against
at this point against
UCLA.
What a game. Somebody that we've been talking about quite a bit. I don't know why, but
how do you think Nico felt about this one?
I don't think Nico really cared.
I don't think he did.
But it was
he definitely didn't after we won.
No, exactly. This was a massive, massive game for the Lady Vols to pull out, and this game was not without controversy throughout the entire thing. And, that includes the play in the 7th inning, the the game tying home run that UCLA hit. And I do want to talk about this for a minute.
Yep.
For those that did not watch it, the UCLA batter.
There's no way they didn't watch it, but go ahead.
Yeah. The UCLA batter, Grant, she hit a home run to right center field.
Very
They
clutch,
ended up,
by the way.
ended up tying the ball game up. And once again,
2 outs, 7th inning.
Yeah. And once again, it was a Carlin Pickens rise ball that she was able to get the barrel to. And, we've seen with how fast Carlin Pickens throws and with the barrel getting there, what's the famous saying, Skylar? The harder it comes in, the faster it goes out.
Yeah, just like if it's fair, it's gone. I mean,
that too. That too on a play like that. But yeah, I mean, she hits the home run, rounds the bases, and misses home plate. She stomps 1 foot on one side of it and then completely stomps over the plate, misses the plate.
And she didn't even know this.
No, she had no idea about it.
And can we stop the story there? Because as a player, if you hit the plate, dude, like there's a feeling of hitting home plate. And when you hit a home run, like that should be the moment. Like you want to, like you're stamping the fact that you just hit a home run. And she steps over the plate. How in the world does she not know that she stepped over the plate? Because it's very clear that, I mean, the girl on deck had to drag her back to home plate and say, hit the bag. I don't know. Just go ahead. It just frustrated me.
So basically, after all this went down, there was a 15 or 20 minute
review
pause in action of a review. It wasn't technically a review. It was a review because afterwards they came back and said this play is not able to be reviewed.
No, that review that was 15, 20 minutes wasn't a review of the play. It was a review of they didn't know what the call. They didn't know the rules, period.
Yeah, they literally had to. That's why it took so long. They had to pull out the rule book and find this rule to see, is it a reviewable play? What's the actual call?
Yeah, they made a call.
What
called
do we do here?
Yeah, they called in to headquarters and try to get a clear answer, and that's why they came out with, the whole Appendix G rule, which still made no sense to me. But
no, it doesn't. So basically, long story short, what happened was the home run counts because she did go back and touch the plate. Technically, you are not supposed to get help from a teammate
that hasn't crossed home plate yet.
Yes, to go back and touch the plate. But because she touched home plate, even though it was assisted, that play is non-reviewable according to Appendix G of the rule book.
Not reviewable because the official that's supposed to be watching her hit home plate completely didn't see it.
Yep.
That's why it's not reviewable. It was crazy, man. But hey, ball never lies. The Lady Vols responded. It took an inning, but
shout out to Laura Mueller, by the way, who just absolutely came alive in this Women College World Series. I mean, I don't know the exact stats for what she went from the plate in the College World Series, but I know in game 1, I think she was 2 for 3 or something like that. Game 2, about the same, 2 for 3. In this contest against UCLA, she was 2 for 5, including driving in 3 of Tennessee's 5 runs. I mean, she wasn't doing it with power, but it seemed like every time Tennessee needed a ball put into play, Laura Mueller was that person.
Her and your offensive leader, Taylor Pannell. She finally, she had a rough supers, didn't have a great regional, I don't think. And then you get to Omaha and you got the best out of Taylor Pannell. That's exactly what you needed. And in this game, you needed every single bit of that, as Carlin Pickens, again, having to throw a lot. But Carlin Pickens, you got to give her up there. The rise ball, every run that UCLA scored was off a home run. That's unusual, but you got to credit Lady Vols offense for coming around and picking her up, because my gosh, if they would have went out in 3 games and 2 of the games were seriously because of home runs off of Carlin Pickens in the 7th inning with 2 outs, that would have been hard for Carlin to come back from next year. I mean, we still got another year of Carlin Pickens. KP is going to be back, and she's going to be better than ever. And Yeah, Matt come in and he said, "Go Vols, baby!" But also, as they reviewed the unreviewable play for 15
Exactly.
minutes,
Exactly.
yeah, it was very frustrating. I did quote that, and I was like, in quotes, after further review, the play is non-reviewable. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what do you mean?
But you know what? When it was all said and done, I had to agree with what Brian Rice said on the Eric Ainge show. After all of that happened, I believe it was the day after. He said, on one hand, I would have absolutely loved for her to have been out and the game to have ended right there. I'm also super glad that the game did not end on technicality and Tennessee gets to walk off later.
It's a technicality, but like it's also a little bit of like ignorance from the player not hitting home plate. Like,
Yeah,
that's like, I mean,
which by the way, shout out to Tennessee baseball. By the way,
that was funny.
In the
Do we have a video
regional?
of that? We got to show that if we got a video.
I'll see if I can find.
You work on it, but like, yes, what you're talking about after the very first home run hit after the Women's College World Series.
Yeah.
Who were they playing? Cincinnati? No,
they were playing Wake.
They were playing Wake.
That was in the finals. The winner go home game.
Yep.
So Manny Marion hits the 3-run home run, and as they come around, he steps on the plate just like you're supposed to.
Yeah,
but then Levi Clark grabs him and pulls him back and is like, "Hey, make sure you step on that."
It was a great tribute and a great troll to the Women's College World Series. It was great. So no, this was huge win though. This was where like I was truly surprised and shocked at like the turnaround that we had made after losing to Oklahoma in game 1. We had then turned around and beat Florida badly, and then you beat UCLA to get to the semis. And at that point, you got to win 2 against Texas, right? But the fact that they still made it to the Final Four of softball, man, that's exactly what you wanted out of this team. We talked about expectations, and we want a championship. We still want championship. But being a Final Four, I mean, I'm not mad at all. This team achieved everything that I think we wanted them to achieve almost. Just a little short on the offense. Carlin Pickens also getting a little roughed up in Omaha. And I'll say a little because she still pitched dominant, man. I mean, she was still averaging like 10 Ks a game. It's just like you said, that rise ball had a little bit of issues, and you got to credit those hitters from UCLA, the bombing Bruins. Is that what they called them? I mean, man, they could hit the ball a mile, and they did. And so fun, exciting game. By the way, this game broke some records, by the way.
It did.
In total viewership, averaged about 3 milli. 3 milli, by the way? Almost.
Yeah,
I think it peaked at 4 mil.
It was the most watched
non-championship series.
Yes, in Women's College World Series history. So I actually did find
It's probably because of that. It's probably because of that call at home plate. Everybody had to tune in.
Yeah, exactly. So I did find this video. I know we're talking softball, but here we go.
No, let's see it. Here we go. 2 outs.
So, yeah.
We got no volume, but that's okay. What about this hit, by the way? We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the next segment, but what a huge hit for Manny Marin, of all people.
His 3rd home run of the year.
Exactly.
And he goes moment like
and he goes oppo, dude. But watch this as he's rounding 3rd. Oh, yeah. Check it out. Watch Levi Clark. Grab him, pull him back. I love it.
Awesome. Awesome. What
troll.
Tennessee baseball does. So
it was great. It was good stuff. Love to see it. But Lady Vols making it to the semis after this big win. Another way that I would say I agree with the way it happened is not that I give a rat's rear end on how people view us or anything like that, but isn't it sweeter to win on a hit that we deserve rather than, like you said, it being called by the officials or something like that? I mean, because at the end of the day, the ball did leave the park. It is out of play.
Oh yeah, I mean, she definitely deserved to get the 2 runs off of that because I mean she got a hold of that ball and she's sitting out of the ballpark.
Yep.
So I mean, like both of us said, at the end of the day, the ball doesn't lie. Tennessee ended up getting the walk-off just like they deserved to after all that happened. But
if I had any hate toward UCLA, which I really don't, Man, it's a lot sweeter when they had a chance. They thought they were going, then you just yank it away like that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Exactly.
it's all good.
Yeah,
Matt
we'll
said he didn't pick up on the troll during the game, but yeah, dude, I knew it the moment they did it. I was like, well, that's kind of funny. But honestly, Matt, you were probably just so excited because Manny Marin hitting a home run in that was probably the last guy we ever expected to go Oppo yard. All right. In that moment to really put some space in the game. Because I'll be honest, I knew it was going to be kind of a bullpen game for us. Us being up by 1 wasn't enough. And it proved to not be because Wake Forest kind of put in a little bit of an effort there later on in the game.
Yeah, they sure did. But anyway, Lady Vols, as you mentioned, they did get to the semifinals here in this game. Going up against Texas, you got to win 2 to make the championship. And unfortunately, just as we feared after that loss to Oklahoma, it was just too little too late at this point. Texas does get a 2-0 victory, and I've got to give complete and total credit to the Texas pitcher that started this ball game, because I had heard a stat earlier in the day that each team that had started somebody besides their normal ace had gone on to lose the game, except for Oklahoma. They started somebody else and it went to their ace, I believe Barnhart, like immediately right after, and they ended up coming back and winning. But every other team that started somebody besides their ace went on to lose the game. And Texas decided to roll the dice. They went with Mac Morgan to start the game, who
She was huge.
I mean, on the season, she wasn't necessarily the best pitcher. She's got an 11-4 record overall. Let me look at the season stats. I mean, 73 and 2/3 innings pitched, gave up 78 hits, 43 runs, 39 strikeouts, a 3.23 ERA. So nothing impressive. And she was not known as a strikeout pitcher. But she came into this contest, and in 4 innings of work, she struck out 4 Lady Vols, only gave up 3 hits, 1 walk, only 1 extra base hit out of those 3 hits, and just completely shut down the Lady Vols. So then they decide to go to their ace in the 5th inning in Tegan Kavan, and she was lights out from there. Did not give up a single hit, had 3 strikeouts, only had 1 walk in those 3 innings of work. I mean, it was just one of those things where the Lady Vols had played so well throughout the first few games that just like we have
Snap back to reality, my boy.
just like we have seen over the last 2 seasons, and
Yeah.
I'll go back 3 seasons, you just don't have the offense to back up your pitching.
Yeah, we're going to need to see a big change, whether it's a portal. Probably going to need to be the portal. We're going to have to get some offensive firepower in here. I mean, kind of like Tennessee baseball. It's almost like no matter who they send to the plate, you almost think that there's a chance it's going over. I mean, think Tennessee, even this year, even though their home run numbers have dipped, they're still amazing, by the way. Yeah. 8 of the 9, I think, starting players for Tennessee has hit double-digit home runs on the year. Lady Vols just doesn't have that type of pop. I have a couple that have hit great, and like Boo Gibson over the career has hit like dang near 40, but like overall, just got to really amp up our offense over the portal. And look, all that looks like is like picking up 2 pieces. Picking up 2 pieces. You're bringing back a lot of players, actually. And then, look, you got KP coming back for senior year. That gives you a chance no matter what. But as we've seen so much this year, just like this one, you give up an early home run to a rise ball. And the second one was a dumb one. I think we were trying too hard because we knew how tight the game was. It was an error, and they scored on it. But offense still has to score to win, and that never even happened in this game. Only got 3 hits, and it was a tough way to go out because it was kind of like, dang, well, that run kind of ended because this was what we were seeing in the regular season that we knew was going to be kind of hindering to keep us from winning that championship, and we were pretty much spot on that. It's exactly what kept us from winning the championship. But you got to give credit to Texas. Texas is a decent team. Probably should have lost to Tech in game 1, but they did pull it out. Not sure how you make a mistake like Tech made, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up.
Exactly.
But anyway, it was a great game for Texas, and it was a great run for the Lady Vols.
Yeah, there's shoulda, coulda, wouldas, ifs, ands, buts, and all this. But can I say this, that if Tennessee had beaten Oklahoma in game 1 and you end up going against, all right, let's just say you beat,
completely different. By
I
the
was
way,
gonna,
I know where you're going with this because it's completely different. If you beat Oklahoma in game 1, you still face Texas in game 2, but you don't flip the way you flipped after losing game 1. So you would stay on the side with like Texas Tech, and who
Yeah.
did they put out?
You would ask me that.
I don't know who Texas Tech put out.
I don't remember either. But that side was definitely a lot easier.
Easier by them.
It was,
in my opinion, by a long shot. It was way easier.
Texas Tech, I think maybe Oregon, Florida State, and there was one SEC school.
It might have been Oregon. They might have put out Oregon.
Ole Miss. Ole Miss was one of those teams.
Okay. I can't remember. Shoot, I didn't even care about that side of the bracket.
But
Matt's in the chat said didn't realize that Carlin Pickles was coming back. She's incredible.
Yes, she's just a junior.
Yeah. Well, she's just a junior, but like a lot of times when you're that good as a junior, even in like any sport, they're gone, right? But like there is no pro softball league.
There's just now starting to be that Athletes Unlimited that's supposed to be.
There is, but let's be honest here. She's at the pinnacle of her exposure.
Yes.
Spotlight. She's going to be making a lot of money coming back next year.
Yep.
Way more than she's going to be making in a brand new pro league. But I'm glad that there is a pro league because people are going to be she's going to be one of those Caitlin Clark like players for the sport that even when she goes pro, they're still going to want to watch.
Exactly.
And so she's coming back. I'm almost a firm believer she's going to hit 80 miles per hour next year. And I'm looking forward to it. She's just got to stay healthy. Obviously, I'm not really worried about the arm of softball, but you never know when she's throwing that hard. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, but kind of where I was going with that. So if Tennessee beats Oklahoma, of course they start off 1-0. Let's just say you do beat Texas in game 2. You go up 2-0. You're in the driver's seat at that point. All right.
Yeah.
And no matter who Tennessee plays, nobody has beaten Carlin Pickens twice. 2 games in a row.
Exactly.
So that's why if Tennessee had started off with a win in game 1, then that would have changed everything. That loss was so big because I don't believe, and I would have to go back and do research, I don't believe in Carlin Pickens' career has she ever been beat 2 games in a row. In her first 2 seasons, you had Peyton Gottschall that she was splitting time with. So basically it would go Gottschall, Pickens, or Pickens, Gottschall,
and it was
like
Gottschall was your pitcher because Pickens, I think, was still a little wild. She was still, walking a lot. What she had the arm.
Was still dominant, but she didn't have the technique. She wasn't able to hit her spots, use those other pitches the way that she is able to now. But I don't believe in those first 2 seasons was she ever beat in back-to-back games. I know for a fact this year she was never beat, in back-to-back games. So I firmly believe that if they had gone up 2-0, that they would have beat Texas or Oklahoma or whoever that they would have played in the semis, at least one of those games, because you're not beating Carlin Pickens twice in a row. Then they would have gone on to win the national championship because, once again, nobody is beating Carlin Pickens in 2 games in a row.
But as you said, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, what a ride for the Lady Vols. I think it made it a little bit more fun, the fact that they did lose in a way and then was able to kind of crawl their way back all the way to the semis. Would have been cool to take it to game 2 with Texas, but Texas proven to be one of, if not the best team in America. So I tip my cap, and it is what it is. Let the fake TU win this one.
Yep.
And then we'll continue to be dominant in every other sport. So, it is what it is. We'll be back next year. I ain't worried about
it. So I've got one last thing. Well, I guess technically 2 last things on softball before we move on. So first off, they're already reloading. I mean, they've already picked up people out of the transfer portal. They've already got a couple of high school recruits.
Lost a couple pieces too, but nothing too important.
They did lose a couple of pieces. A shout out to Boo Gibson for an absolutely incredible 4-year career on Rocky Top. Laura Mealer, transfer from MTSU. Sophia Nugent, transfer from Oklahoma. I know I'm missing a couple as well, but just shout out to everybody.
I think those are
Was it those 3?
I think that was it. Maybe one of the Leach sisters. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe Gabby. I don't. I know Alana's the younger one. I don't know if Gabby's a junior.
I
or a
think
senior,
the Leaches
but
are back. I could be wrong, but no, you hit the big three. I mean, those are
Yeah.
definitely the ones that we're going to probably be missing the most. So
yeah. But then the other thing I want to bring up, and it's a question for topic. We can think about it and talk about it later on. Is Carlin Pickens, by the time she is done at Tennessee, going to be the greatest softball pitcher in history?
yeah.
Because I mean, right
She had
now,
300 and something strikeouts in a season.
Yes.
Now, granted, she gets to pitch in a lot more games, but just to put in perspective, your new record holder for baseball strikeouts in a single season is none other than the psycho, Liam Doyle, who only has like 153. Carlin Pickens has 300. Like, it's pretty wild.
Because I mean, right now, who would you say is the greatest softball pitcher of all time? It's Monica Abbott.
Yeah.
And by the time
I don't know why I wanted to say Montana Fouts, because I thought she was really, really good.
Look,
in her prime,
she's definitely on up there.
But then she got injured like her last 2 seasons and kind of hindered that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Monica Abbott is the greatest softball pitcher
Also
of all
from
time.
Tennessee.
Yes. And I believe by the time Carlin Pickens is done here next year, she will have surpassed that. She's already broken the fastest pitch ever recorded. She has already come close to or broken several different records that Monica Abbott has already broken. And if Carlin Pickens and the Lady Vols win a national title next year,
I was like, kind of like a Heisman
That's the
Trophy.
one thing missing.
Yeah, kind of like a Heisman Trophy winner. Like, you got to have that moment, and her moment is getting that ring, and she's got to have that.
Because that's the one knock against Monica Abbott is they never won a ring. Now, they finished runner-up, but they never won a ring. If Carlin Pickens gets a ring, I don't think it's a question.
Let me ask you one question real quick, big dog. Let me end the softball segment with this question.
Okay.
Because it's been loud in the fan base.
I've got a feeling I know where you're going.
But will Karen Weekly get it done?
I don't see why not. I'm gonna turn it around and counter and say, if she can't,
that is facts, by the way, Matt. That is correct. She did break her own record twice.
Yeah. So if the fan base is saying that she can't do it, who are you gonna go get that can do it?
Especially somebody, Karen Weekly, by the way, who's been there for like, 24, 25 years?
Yeah.
Now, you can look at that 2 ways. You'd be like, wow, she's been there for 24 years and hasn't gotten it done. No. Do you realize how bad our softball team was before Karen Weekly got there? I don't even know.
Ralph both.
I don't even know if we had a softball team. I'll be honest with you. And you got to look at what she's done in the last, obviously throughout her entire career, because this is like another run. She had a run early, obviously with Abbott, but now,
remember, we said earlier this year, this season was the 20th straight season that they have hosted a regional.
Which means if they're hosting a regional, this is the 20th straight year they finished the regular season in the top 16.
Yeah.
That's wild. So
I get fans are probably frustrated. She hasn't won the big one yet. Is she gonna be like Rick Barnes? She can't get over that hump. I mean, maybe not. But who else are you going to go?
I would
get that
rather
has
have
the exact same success that she
This is going to drive a lot of hate. I would rather have 20 years of very good to elite ball. I'll just say ball because it doesn't matter what sport. I'd have 20 years of absolute most fun watching. You've got a chance to win every single game you're in type ball with a chance to win a natty. Than to win a natty and then lose everything. Look at these teams that'll sell their soul to win a natty. They win it, and you're firing your coach within a year or two after that. And then you're in the absolute dumps or whatever. Like, I think I'd rather have the 20 years of dominance and with a chance of winning a natty than the opposite.
I think I agree with that, but then again, that winning that one natty, that's That means a lot. But
It does,
I
but
do think I agree with you overall.
But
on
like,
that.
this is why I appreciate, and we're gonna go ahead and flip it over to baseball. That's why I appreciate what Tony V has been able to do. You won a natty last year, and then you still hosted a regional. That's the first time I think of previous champions hosted a regional in like since 2016 or something. I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Because usually you have your champion and then they fall off the next year. Not the Vols, baby. We reloaded. I mean, obviously it's a little bit of a down year, you could say, but don't you love that a down year has you in the supers, bro? Let's go. I mean, come on. Let's talk about it.
That's more than we can say about little brother.
Hey. After little brother took a shot at us, one of their players sitting there saying, like, we won the series, we won the SEC. It's clear that if you're getting recruited by both, what did he say? Like, yeah, like, you know which ones to go to or something?
Yeah, you know which one you need to go to. But yeah, let's go ahead and flip it over to baseball. Once again, softball, another fantastic season. Cannot complain about a Final Four finish. Let's just reload and let's win the whole dang thing next year.
Hey, I'd be all right with that. But before we get on to baseball, I do want to let you guys know who our segment 2 sponsor is because they make it happen. It is PNLBusinessServices.com. We know that's how you reach them. It's PNL Business Services, but we know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at PNL Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Again, they're looking for folks that, you know, you're building that business and you need like full service accounting and bookkeeping, payroll, you name it, they got it. And again, to reach out to them, it is online at pnlbusinessservices.com. We appreciate your continued support of our second segment, which today is going to be the baseball team, man. What a region. It was a lot of fun, a little bit of nervousness there at the end, but to start the region out with a win over, what was this, Miami of Ohio?
Yeah, this was Miami of Ohio.
Right on. I think that was the exact same game the ladies had to start out with in their region, wasn't it? Is that not weird?
I mean, Tennessee basically sent Miami of Ohio home in both baseball and softball, and it wasn't really close. Yeah, it was great to see the Vols start off hot with a victory like this. And you know, I was kind of curious what Tony Vitello would do. Would he go ahead and start Liam Doyle in a game like this, or would he kind of move his pitching rotation around some?
And boy, did he look like a genius for that.
He did in the long run, but I was kind of questioning.
You were mad though, right? Like in the moment, you're like, "Why did he do this?"
Yeah, I was a little bit frustrated,
and that's why we are at the couch.
and Tony, we trust. But no, I was like, we're gonna throw our ace against Miami of Ohio when I know for a fact Marcus Phillips can go out there and get a victory. We could probably throw Tegan Coons out there.
I was
wanting to see
Arvidsson get the start. This was a perfect moment to get Arvidsson out there to let him start. And honestly, he would have probably dominated. And that would have built his confidence up. He could have been that guy. And I really thought this was a great opportunity for him. But I understand why Tony did it now. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. As Tennessee does get the big 9-2 victory in this contest, got all 9 of the runs in that stretch of the second inning to the fifth inning there, and it was from multiple different people, as well as Reese Chapman with a solo home run in the bottom of the second inning. Then Dean Curley, bases loaded walk. Reese Chapman with a sac fly that scored one. Andrew Fisher with a RBI single. Hunter Inslee with a RBI single as well. And then Dalton Bargo with a RBI single. Reese Chapman. Let's see. Okay, this is 2 different innings. So Reese Chapman, he reached on a fielder's choice to end up scoring a run after a throwing error. And then Gavin Keelan in the 5th inning with an RBI single as well. Kind of getting it from all places, but a lot from that front half of the lineup.
That's right. I'm going to call them out because they deserve it. Manny Marin, who obviously redeemed himself. And then Levi Clark, the only 2 in the lineup that didn't record a hit.
Yeah.
But both of those guys, by the way, pretty much redeemed themselves.
Well, Dean Curley did not either, but he walked twice. He was 0 for 2 with 2 walks.
He got subbed though, didn't he?
He got subbed late in the game. That defensive
By
substitution with Ariel.
Yep. Okay, that's why he's because it's showing me Ariel who went 0 for 0, so that makes sense. All right, right on. My fault. Well, also Dean. Unbelievable.
You got 2 hits from Gavin. You got 1 from Fisher. You got 2 from Inslee. 1 from Bargo, which Bargo's kind of cooled off a little bit here lately.
He did not have a good regional.
Yeah, I hope to see him get going again here in the Supers. But Reese Chapman with a big day, going 1 for 2, 3 RBIs, had the solo home run. He also had a sac fly. He walked once in the game. Reese Chapman's really come on here as of late. And then Cannon Peebles as well with 2 doubles in the contest.
Liam Doyle, 11 strikeouts.
Yep.
He only gave up 4 hits in nearly 7 innings of work. I mean,
it's impressive, man.
I get it. It's against Miami, Ohio, but that's pretty good, man. That is pretty solid work. What a game 1 win.
Yeah, I mean, can't say much else about it. We'll move on to game 2, winners bracket game, going up against Cincinnati and getting a 10-6 victory in this contest. And this was one going into it that I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit nervous about because
I was.
Cincinnati, they lead the nation in stolen bases. I think they lead the nation in walks as well, something along those lines. It's one of those stats like that. And Marcus Phillips is not very good at keeping teams from stealing bases. I mean, it's a pattern that we've seen most of the season where, he becomes predictable with his pickoff attempts and his lookovers whenever he's checking the runners and all that. But a shout out to Marcus Phillips, as Cincinnati only ended up with 3 total stolen bases in this contest. And I wish I knew where to find when those stolen bases happened. I only think one of those was against Phillips. I think the other 2 were after he was pulled.
Speaking of, I mean, to be able to, the fact that he got you to the 7th inning. Now, obviously, he didn't record it out in the 7th, but the fact that he got you to the 7th inning, I think was huge. Because you've seen what happened. You've seen what happened in the final 3 innings. Now, obviously, one of those in the 7th, one of those is his. He one is his runs scored, but like he pitched 6 straight innings, only gave up 2 runs. He comes out and 4 runs in 3 innings. I like huge. We just don't have that. We don't have the bullpen depth for 3 games, and so the fact that we were able to ride him as far as we did, I think was, kind of a very undermined player of the game, in my opinion, was Marcus Phillips. Because you look at the score, you look at the box score, like nothing jumps out at you, but he still had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings of work. And I think 100% really carried you to being able – offense did a great job. I ain't taking anything away from what the offense did, but the fact that we were able to conserve some arms, I think, was just huge, so important, especially going into, obviously, the championship series. So,
yeah, and I was correct. I was able to find the stat I was looking for. So he only gave up 1 stolen base. The other 2 stolen bases came in the 8th inning off of AJ Russell. It was the same guy, ended up stealing 2nd and 3rd. So a shout out to Marcus Phillips for that. And then, as you said, just going to 6 innings there, preserving the bullpen, going deeper into the contest. Just a great all-around game for him. And not a bad stat line either. Only gave up 4 hits, 3 runs in 6 innings, gave up 4 walks, but had 8 strikeouts. I'll take that sort of performance any day of the week, especially when your offense does come around. I mean, Andrew Fisher with another one of his days, going 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. Gavin Keelan 4 for 6 with a triple on the day.
Almost had the cycle.
Yeah, he almost did. Let's see. Hunter Inslee was 0 for 3, did walk twice. Dalton Bargo 0 for 4. He walked once. Dean Curley stepped up in this game, though, going 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs, and he also walked. One of those was the home run. Let's see. Reese Chapman 0 for 3. Levi Clark 1 for 3. He also walked twice. Cannon Beebles with another nice day, going 2 for 5 with 2 doubles. And Manny Marion 1 of 5 in this contest. So, you're right. The Bats still doing their job. You put up 10 runs in this contest. That puts you at 19 runs over 2 games. And that's going to get the job done just about any time.
Oh, yeah. It was a great game, and it set up we watched and see who was going to win out of the losers bracket, set up the championship game on Sunday.
Yep. Sunday night, game 1, Wake Forest. They were the home team. So I found out the way this works is
it don't make no sense. We were the away team 2 games in a row. Made no sense.
So in the regionals, the way it works is whichever team has been the home team the least amount of times, they end up getting that home. They end up being the home team.
So it's not a coin flip.
No, it's not a coin flip. So Tennessee was the home team in their first game. They were the road team against Cincinnati. Wake Forest in the first game was the road team because they were the 3 seed. Then they were the let's see. Yeah, so then in the winner go home game, I'm not sure if they were the home or the away. I think they were probably the home team in that one, but they'd had to play Cincinnati again and were the away team again in that contest. So they had 2 games where they were the away team compared to Tennessee's 1. So they got to be the home team in this one, Tennessee the road team. Ultimately, did it matter? Maybe it did, but Tennessee they didn't get the job done the way that they needed to. Started AJ Russell in this contest started Dylan Loy in this contest. I'm thinking about the following game. Started Dylan Loy. He went an inning and a third, and don't know do you feel like they were trying to save him for a possible game 3, or I felt like he pitched pretty well in that inning and a third of work.
No, I just think it was a bullpen game. Like I think they were just going through. You know how Tony V is. He likes to pitch to matchups, and even if a pitcher's feeling it, if he wants a lefty on lefty kind of thing or whatever, like he will make the switch no matter what. I mean, that's why you see a pitcher come in, will throw. I mean, he'll throw 4 pitches, get the out, and then he'll turn around and take them right back out and put in somebody else. It's a weird way of doing it, but that's why he makes the big bucks and I don't. So
yeah, I felt like if you're gonna start Dylan Lloyd like that, let him go a little bit longer because he went an inning and a third. And then you turn around and go to Brandon Arvidsson, who throws 5 and a third, pitched pretty well. I mean, he did give up 5 runs, but had 12 strikeouts. Only gave up 5 hits, gave up 3 walks, had another fantastic day on the mound, threw 108 pitches, which, by the way, Brandon Arvidsson needs to be your Sunday starter, but that's a different topic. But I felt like if you're going to go with it, then you should start him, then go to Lloyd, and then go to whoever after that. But, like you said, Tony makes the big bucks, gets to make the decisions. It's not up to us. I just felt like that's kind of where Tennessee probably should have gone.
Yes, sir. So this one hurt because Brandon Arvidsson put in that effort that you wanted to see. He actually struggled early on, but then absolutely locked in as he pitches 5 and a third, 5 hits, 5 runs given up. Even though the 5 runs given up's a little skew, but it's not. He got roughed up a little bit to start, but then he locked in 12 strikeouts and only walked 3 batters. Those walks did come back to hurt him. I think early on he walked a couple and they got around to score, but like I said, when he locked in, he gave you what you needed. I mean, you got tied it up, you tied it up 6-6, and it just wasn't enough. We got walked off. Obviously that stings, and Wake Forest, you got it. It's crazy what Wake Forest was able to do on that Sunday. I mean, this was their double header, and they still had that energy and that fight to stay alive. And Tennessee, you got to do a little bit better, coming out a little bit better than they were squaring up Wake Forest. They were just hitting them straight to somebody. So it was tough, but overall, just again, I know we only had one error, but we really got to clean it up, man. This is embarrassing. It was a dumb error, and just be smarter than that. And this did force a Monday game, which frustrated us because even if we would have tried to do the show on Sunday, it wouldn't have really made sense because, well, the series wasn't over yet. So, no, you got to credit Wake Forest, but Tennessee came back locked in.
Yeah, so game 2, this is the win or go home contest, and Tennessee came ready to play in this game. Got off to a little bit of a slow start in the first and the second innings. Wake put up 2 in the second inning. Tennessee's offense finally woke up a little bit in the third. You got the 1 run, but then the fourth inning,
we took a page out of the softball.
We sure did. So I'm going to go ahead to the fourth inning here and just give the plays on it. So start off the inning with a Hunter Inslee walk, which glad to see him get on bases. You know, he really struggled in this regional. Dalton Bargo struck out. Then Dean Curley walks. You got runners on first and second at that point. Dean and Hunter both advanced on a wild pitch, and then Reese Chapman with a RBI single to follow that up. Then Reese Chapman ended up advancing to second, and Dean Curley scored off of a wild pitch. Levi Clark was hit by a pitch, so once again, runners on first and second. Cannon Peebles struck out, and then Manny Marin gets the big 3-run home run that we showed the video of earlier.
Day he had, dude.
Gavin Keelan comes up and singles to start things off again, and then Andrew Fisher. He starts off before the at-bat even begins. He's back there firing up the crowd, trying to get them rocking and rolling. And then, you know, everyone's probably seen the video of the Wake Forest head coach giving some
choice words.
Very, very choice words over video.
Slurs.
Yeah, so it gets to a 1-2 count. And Andrew Fisher does Andrew Fisher things. Yeah. Andrew Fisher with a big 2-run home run that was kind of Drew Gilbert-esque in a way, which, by the way,
it was because he pumped up the crowd before the at-bat and then went yard. That, to me, you could do whatever you want after that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like,
which, by the way, a shout out to everybody that celebrates National Drew Gilbert Day like I do each year, which was yesterday. Yeah. Yesterday was National Drew Gilbert Walk-Off Grand Slam Day for everybody that celebrates it. And each time that I watch that video of the Grand Slam, I still don't believe that ball has landed yet. You see the ball leave his bat. I saw a great shot from Ben McKee, who was at that game, and he took a video of it. You see the ball go into the air, but then you lose it, and you never see it land.
It's crazy because that at-bat, not that this is about Drew Gilbert, but that at-bat, he completely whiffs on the first pitch.
Oh, and you can tell he is trying his hardest to knock that ball out.
But then the dude throws the exact same pitch, and I'm like, yeah, you don't get to do that again. You don't get to do that against really good
breaking ball.
Yeah,
he tattoos, and I'm telling you, that ball is still in orbit somewhere.
Oh yeah, but no, Tennessee locked in. Manny Marin locked in. 3 for 3 day with a home run, a double, 3 RBIs, 2 runs. I mean, my guy, have a day. And then Tennessee got the lead it needed in the fourth, right?
Yep.
And then you're sitting there holding it as best as you can. But honestly, Wake Forest they hit a 2-run homer in the fifth. They were trying to come back in the sixth. And then
yeah, look,
wild thing comes back out, my boy.
I'm good. I'm just gonna replay a text conversation that me and you had as you know, Wake Forest started to come back a little bit. And in that top of the 7th inning, it was right before Liam Doyle came into the ball game, and you're like, man, I feel like Tennessee's gonna.
Oh, it was BVS, bro. I was like, we're gonna literally choke this.
We're going to give this up, and I said, no, man. 9th inning is gonna roll around. Liam Doyle is going to come into this ball game and lock it down.
By the way, I said that when it was 8-5. Like it was top of the 6th or something, and I was like, man, they're gonna come back. Like I just feel like all the momentum shifted, and
But yeah, whenever I sent you the message back, I said, no, Liam Doyle's going to come out in the 9th inning. We're going to shut it down. We're going to win this ball game. If it wasn't the next batter that Tony Vitello goes to the pen, he says, hey, bring out the lefty. I said, or he's just going to shut it down right now.
And he did.
And he sure did. As you see there in the bottom graphic, 2 1/3, no hits, no runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts. And I'm going to see if I can find the video real quick of his his 8th inning strikeout where
They call timeout. They try to pull an Andrew Fisher.
The whole sequence where they call the timeout. He looks over there and he's like, okay, I see you.
He literally tells his infield, says, get away from me. Like, we're not huddling at the mound. No, I'm going to stay locked in. That was it. You just passed it. That's it. Just make sure it restarts.
So that was the actual strikeout. I was looking for the whole sequence.
There's no way it doesn't show the whole sequence. There's
that
no
video
way.
It does not.
There's no way it doesn't. That's crazy it doesn't. Why would they post a video of the pitch but not of what led to it?
I've seen it all over Twitter today, so I'm going to see if I can find it real quick.
No, that's fine. It was you along that point, though. You talk about getting your swagger back. Talk about getting your confidence back. Was this not that game where it felt like Tennessee got that back?
Oh yeah, it absolutely.
Between Andrew Fisher at the plate pumping up the crowd, then going yah, and then Liam Doyle doing that on the mound where he's like, clearly a dog, and then he proves it. He walks the walk as well. Like that to me bodes so well going into this Arkansas Super. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But and then what about at the end of that strikeout in the 8th inning? He just all right. This is the entire clip right here.
We can hear it, but we can't see it.
Pause it and go back. Share.
And now Bill
Okay.
Salento.
So they call timeout. He laughs it off.
Coach is going to slow things down. If you haven't watched Wake before, this is commonplace from one of the great assistant coaches in the country.
This is great. This right here, he turns around because his infield's about to come up there and talk to him.
And Liam Doyle
saying,
let's
go. He says, no.
Yeah. Get away from me.
Get
away
from
infielders.
I absolutely love that. Don't talk to me.
Now this is after. I mean, you see batters do it after a 1-2 count when a pitcher's locked in, and you see them getting to the mound, and like there's no pause. It's all gas. I mean, they get set, they're throwing the ball, and that's what Liam Doyle was doing. He was in the zone. He had a great tempo, and so they called a timeout here. And
Tony Vitello's
probably the worst thing you could have done, honestly. And as a batter, how do you not know what pitch is about to come right here?
Well, it's about to be a fastball.
A straight gas. Maybe it was the location, but 99, and that might have been a little inside, but he caught the plate. How do you not know that's coming, dude?
Liam Doyle's a madman.
I think Liam Doyle's still skipping in the locker room.
In the tunnel, because if not, he just went right through it.
I love what Todd Peterson said right there, where he was just like, "Yeah,
he's a madman."
I hope. Well, he said he's a madman, but then he said, "I hope somebody opened the door to that locker room, because if not, he just busted right through it."
He sure did, man. It was fun. But like I said, just getting that confidence, that swagger back, and I think it bodes well for the Arkansas Super, which is who we drew. We're going to Fayetteville. Let's get it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you got anything else on the Knoxville Regional before we start previewing this contest?
I don't, man. It was a great regional. A little bit of drama there, obviously, but overall, the Vols did what they needed to do. They took care of business, and honestly, I didn't put much into it, but like they did it when a lot of teams didn't. Let's be honest.
Yep.
There was a ton of hosts that didn't make it out of regionals, and some that didn't even make it to their championship game.
Vanderbilt. the first ever #1 overall seed to not make their regional championship.
And was it Florida that lost to Eastern Carolina twice or something like that?
Yes. No. Yes.
Coastal.
Yes.
Or Coastal. Or maybe it was Coastal Carolina. I don't. One of the Carolinas.
I think
Florida.
Eastern Carolina, I think, is the one to put them out. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, only 4 SEC teams made it out. But
out of like 9, or 9, maybe out of
I
13.
think it was like 13.
13. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. But let's
Hate
get
to
right
see
into previewing this
Let's get
matchup here. Before we do that, I'm going to give you our segment 3 sponsor, which is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate at KaizenPainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. So Tennessee and Arkansas, the battle of Tony Vitello and Dave Van Horn. You mentioned it earlier. There is going to be some.
I hope you got your popcorn
fireworks.
ready. This is going to be a good one.
Okay, Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Doing a quick. I was just looking at the Arkansas stats here. They're pretty good. I don't know how they actually weren't. I don't know why Vanderbilt was number 1 overall to begin with.
They should not have been.
They just won the tournament, and that somehow gave them the nod, even though they clearly weren't the best team, in my opinion. SEC ranks.
Texas probably should have been, but again, you can make a big argument for Arkansas, who actually swept Texas earlier in the season. 20-10 in the SEC, 46-13 overall. They absolutely had a resume to be the number 1 overall seed.
Batting average as a team, 313. That's good for first in the SEC. Their on-base percentage is 42%, which is good for first in the SEC. That's insane, actually. Slugging percentage is a 560, which is good for second. Home runs, they are at 120. You see on the screen there. That is good for fourth in the SEC and sixth in the nation. Their runs, they have scored 519 total runs, good for first in the nation. Very high explosive offense. But they got it on both ways. Their strikeout to walk ratio is a 3.6, which is good for first in the nation and first in the SEC, of course. And their fielding percentage, not committing those errors.
Yeah.
They're good for 99, basically. 98.4 or a .984. That's good for second in the nation and first in the SEC. Guys, Arkansas, you're going to have to beat them. You're not going to have to,
they're not going to make mistakes.
Yeah, they're not going to beat themselves. You're going to have to turn around. You're going to beat them. And let me tell you, though, they've got 2 absolute stud pitchers, Gage Wood and Zach Root. We're going to have our hands full. We're going to have to be able to eye that ball up. Gage Wood in the regional, 6 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts. So we want to sit there and talk all great about Liam Doyle, which he did great. Gage Wood, Arkansas is sitting there talking about the same thing with their own pitching. So it's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, it definitely is. You got Zach Root is a guy that will probably be the Saturday starter this week. On the season, he's 75 overall, a 3.78 ERA, 76 hits, 42 runs, 113 strikeouts compared to 29 walks. And when you look on the screen right here of the strikeouts to walks, one thing stands out to me, and it's the fact that Arkansas trusts that defense. Skylar mentioned the fielding percentage at .984%. And the Arkansas pitchers, they do their job up there, but they also let them put the ball in play and trust the defense behind them. It is over 150 less strikeouts that Arkansas has compared to Tennessee. But you also look at the walk numbers. It's almost 100 less walks that Arkansas has compared to Tennessee. So what I've read into this is Tennessee pitchers, they're good. They're very good at getting strikeouts. But they also walk a lot of batters because they are trying to get that strikeout and not so much trusting the defense behind them. Arkansas, they're getting the batters out, whether it be via the strikeout or they're letting their defense do the work behind them.
That's right. But these 2 teams, it's a shame that they're meeting in the Supers because this is, in my opinion, this is absolutely an Omaha
match. This is a College World Series Finals matchup.
I don't know if I go finals. But it could be.
All right, so
it could be.
I
know it's a World Series matchup, period.
I think that this is a College World Series Finals. And
The only problem I have with putting Tennessee in that territory, and yes, I'm throwing Tennessee under the bus here, is we've talked about it all year. They're not a good series team. When they have to play back-to-back games, not so great. But if they
but
just
they
had to play
played better as of late.
as of late, but only as of SEC tournament, which was 2 games they won in a row. Great. That was the first time they won 2 SEC games in a row in like a month and a half. And then in the regional, they did win 2 in a row, but then they lost the third one. They don't win 3 games in a row, period. Doesn't matter who they're playing.
But kind of to my argument here. So I think this is a College World Series final matchup. I'm going to go through the list of the other super regional teams, and I want you to tell me who you think could replace one of these 2 teams.
All right.
Miami Hurricanes. Louisville. Florida State.
Yes.
All right. I'll give you Florida State. Oregon State.
Who have won quite a bit, actually. So maybe, but no. I'm gonna say no.
Arizona.
No.
North Carolina.
Yes.
See, I disagree with that one.
ACC schools are decent this year.
I'll give you Florida State, but I don't know if I can see North Carolina making it there.
I mean, that's fine.
Coastal Carolina. Auburn.
Yes.
I could see Auburn, yes. UTSA.
Yes, only because I kind of want it to happen.
I'm going to say no. UCLA.
I hope not. God dang it. Why are they always around all of a sudden? Like, I didn't care about UCLA, and now they're everywhere.
Murray State.
No.
Duke.
I'm not going to say yes, but it's possible.
West Virginia.
No.
LSU.
Yeah.
If LSU gets hot,
yeah, LSU.
Then yes. But LSU as
No.
late, I would say no.
I wouldn't even say if they get hot. They got 2 of the best pitchers in the nation, bro. Like they've got some dang good arms. So yeah, I'm giving LSU the nod there. So I mean, there's comfortable 4 teams, I would say.
I would say a comfortable 3. I'll add in North Carolina there, but I would
You don't
say
have
Florida,
to. It's Auburn, LSU,
Florida State,
North
Carolina. Those would be the 4 other teams.
The safe bets are SEC and ACC. So whatever those schools are, because I mean, look at last year's World Series. It was a 4v4 basically.
Pretty much. Yeah, but I personally think that this is the best matchup between
It is
between probably the 2 most talented teams overall.
They are the 2 most talented. They actually combine. They combined for 13 of the top 200 prospects on the draft boards currently, right now, according to MLB.com's newest release.
Yeah, so that's why I think that it's a shame that they had to face off in the super regionals, because that means one of them is going home.
Yep, it's part of it. But God, it'd be so sweet. It would be so sweet if we could send them home. Because look, let's be honest, Arkansas has had some struggles in supers in recent years in the postseason and whatnot, because they've had some great teams. They just don't make it out for whatever reason. And Tennessee, in my opinion, at least series-wise, has played better on the road. I'm loving what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. Obviously, as you see on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, Arkansas did win the road series earlier this year, 2-1. But, this was a series where I'm not saying this is what threw it off, but Tennessee did throw Liam Doyle on – it was still on Friday night, but this was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So to keep Liam Doyle on that regular Friday rotation, they decided to start Marcus Phillips on Thursday, go Liam Doyle on Friday. And Liam Doyle in the last 2 SEC series did not pitch very well. And it was actually a Liam Doyle start that Tennessee lost. A Marcus Phillips start got a win on Thursday night. So with Liam Doyle seemingly back to his normal ways and Marcus Phillips still pitching very well, I think that Tennessee could absolutely come out of Arkansas with a win, but with a series win going back to Omaha, but it's going to be a tall task.
I mean, Tennessee's the team that, I'm never going to say they don't have the chance to win. I think they do.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really just going to be how we hold up on the bullpen. I love what I'm seeing out of Arvidsson. I love what I'm seeing out of A.J. Russell here lately. Man, I mean, it's going to be. I think Tennessee has a better chance to win it in 2 than they do in 3.
I am glad that you and I are on the same page because I was just about to say, if anybody is going to win it in 2 games, it's going to be Tennessee. But if it goes to 3 games, then it goes to Arkansas.
It's not saying that they can't win, but their chances to win, I think, drop dramatically.
Yes, because you're going with your ace on Saturday night in Liam Doyle, and it's Liam Doyle and then whoever you feel like needs to go after that. I would say probably Liam Doyle. Then you could
not
throw
Nate
out
Snead.
No, not Nate Snead. You go Liam Doyle. Then I'll probably go Tanner Franklin after that. You
Yes.
throw your 2 best on Saturday night.
Especially if you got the lead or something, like you
Yes.
put the hammer down. Yeah.
Which by the way, we didn't even mention Tanner Franklin in that
No,
Wake Forest game.
he did great. He did great. He threw 101 like 3 times. It was insane. And then and Saturday you have Phillips, Arvidsson.
No. Phillips, Russell. I go Arvidsson to start on Monday.
I mean, I like that too. I just don't think Tony V is going to start Arvidsson. So
That's fair. That's fair. I think that he should be. I think that as of right now, with their current skill sets and where they are at, I think Arvidsson is your better choice to start a ball game than AJ Russell.
it's something that we overlook, but man, we're going to need some quality starts out of our guys. We're going to need quality. I mean, Liam Doyle, I'm not totally worried about.
And that's that's why
Phillip,
I think, that's why I think you go Phillips and then you go Russell, because I think you're going to get a more quality start right now out of Arvidsson than you would out of Phillips out of Russell. But at the same time, you might see, especially if Tennessee wins game 1, you will probably see Marcus Phillips, and then you're going to see your best arms on that Saturday game, because I think Tony Vitello knows the way that we do. We've got to win it in 2. We can't sit around and hope that if we lose this one, that we can win it in 3. You're going to absolutely throw your best guys on on a Sunday night or I guess it'd be Sunday afternoon to try to win that game 2 if you get that Saturday game. And even if you don't get that Saturday game, you're throwing your absolute best on Sunday to send it to a game 3. So you might see a Marcus Phillips, then Brandon Arvidsson, then AJ Russell, whoever after that. You're going to throw your best guys out there.
It's going to be a good one, man. You got anything else on this matchup?
A big underrated storyline in this contest, which does have me slightly concerned. Cannon Peebles was thrown out of the game.
Yes, I cannot believe we didn't mention that. Yes, I'm glad you brought this up.
Cannon Peebles was thrown out of the game against Wake Forest on Monday. And because of NCAA rules.
And he was actually coming around as a batter really well.
Yeah.
He is coming around. Like, he's been seeing the ball very well.
And he has been the starting catcher in every single game of the tournament, of the postseason so far, in SEC and in the regional tournaments. And I think even going back the last couple of SEC series, he has been the everyday starter at catcher. And that's the guy that I believe the pitchers are most comfortable with behind the plate. So how is Tennessee going to fare with Stone Lawless behind the plate? How is Liam Doyle going to connect with his other battery mate in that game? Personally, I think that Tennessee will be fine, but it is a question. When your everyday catcher is not going to be the guy behind the plate, I mean, how is that going to affect the team? Because the catcher most of the time is the captain of that team. They're making the calls for what the defense is supposed to be doing out there. So you don't have your leader in Cannon Peebles out there. How is Stone Lawless is he going to step up and be that guy that they need him to be in that game? That's going to be a big story.
I think it also changes your lineup just a little bit. I mean, you got to think your DH is still going to be Levi Clark.
I don't know if it changes it that much. I think you just substitute Lawless for Cannon Peebles in that same 8-hole.
Okay. We're going to need something out of Lawless. Ain't bad. I mean, he averages 304 on the season.
No, Lawless is a good hitter. I'm not counting out his hitting. I think that he will be fine at the plate.
I mean, he's not going to throw at anybody. I mean,
I was going to say, my question is on the defensive side of the ball, how is how is Tennessee's defense going to look? Because we already know they've been shaky a lot of times this season, even with Cannon Peebles behind the plate, because there's only so much he can do. But how are they going to respond to him not being in that game and it being Stone Lawless behind the plate?
I mean, I'm hoping with Liam Doyle being on the mound, it's not going to make that big of a difference. I'm hoping that Stone Lawless's job is going to be kind of made for him. If he was having to catch with with Phillips, Marcus Phillips, not Cade Phillips, Marcus Phillips, that scares me a little bit more because we all obviously know the issues we have getting the ball to the catcher so that he can have a chance to even throw somebody out. But I think Liam Doyle does a better job at holding runners on and getting the ball to the catcher I mean, I ain't necessarily worried about it, but I do think Cannon Peoples is coming around as a batter, and that's where I think it means a little bit more. But I think Liam Doyle is going to help carry the defensive side of things for the catcher. Make that job a little bit easier, at least for the first 5 or 6 innings. So,
yep, I'm with you there. But this Saturday, Sunday, and Monday,
5 o'clock Eastern.
Yep, 5 o'clock Eastern on ESPN on Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN on Sunday, and then on Monday, if necessary, that game will also be on ESPN. Time to be determined, but I believe it's probably going to be around 5 or 6 Eastern as well on Monday if needed. So get ready, as Skylar mentioned earlier, get your popcorn ready. There's going to be some fireworks because we all know, we've seen it time and time again. Dave Van Horn and Tony Vitello, they respect each other.
But
they're dear friends, but they're competitors.
And let me say this. Arkansas is a mouthy team.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm going to say 2. The one thing I respect about Tennessee's team this year is I feel like they've been mouthy, but mouthy like toward the fans, like our team. Like everything's been directed to us. They've not necessarily been chipping back and forth unless somebody's been chipping with them. Yeah. Arkansas is going to chip with them, so it's going to be exciting to see if somebody hits a home run. What's just watch that helmet, see if they turn toward the pitcher, or was it Andrew Fisher or Gavin Keelan that I swear they hit a home run earlier in the year and they talked to like every single person.
Oh, that was Andrew Fisher.
Yeah, I was just he let everybody know what he did as if they didn't just see it. So no, I this is going to be a fun one, and I hate that it's a Saturday Monday series if we get it game 3. But it's all eyes are going to be on this game. The Saturday slot being at 5 Eastern, all eyes are going to be on this one. Expect some fireworks.
Yeah, and you get the big 3 on the broadcast. You got Todd Peterson, Chris Burke, and gosh, who am I missing? It's the main play-by-play guy. Man, I just drew a blank. See, Todd Peterson, Chris Burke, yeah.
Nah, it'll be all right.
Man, it's gonna bother me. But
Tom Hart.
But yeah, yes, there you go, Tom Hart. Thank you.
Tom Hart. I'm glad I thought of that, dude. I'm proud of myself for remembering that.
I'm a little bit embarrassed now. But,
Tom Hart.
But yeah, you get the big 3 on the broadcast this weekend. I mean, when you get Chris Burke and Todd Peterson on a broadcast there, you know that you probably got the game of the week.
Yeah, and it's no secret, especially when these two teams did what they were supposed to do to advance the Supers to get that highly anticipated matchup. When I think, can you look? Did you see the regionals matchups? Is there another regional where it was the top 16 seeds?
It was Florida State and Oregon State. I believe
that's
that was
the only other regional or super regional, right?
Let me double check that, but I believe that was the only other one.
So that'll be a fun one to watch, in my opinion. I think the other ones, man, I mean, they're going to be fun to watch because you got the Cinderella story aspect of it, but I don't think they're necessarily going to be close regionals.
Coastal Carolina and Auburn was also one.
Nice.
Yeah, so you've got Miami and Louisville. Both of those were 2 seeds. Florida State was the 9 seed. Oregon State the 8 seed. What about Florida State having to go all the way across the country to play Oregon State in Corvallis?
Oregon State had to go all the way across the country to play who now?
No, Florida State's got to go across the country to Corvallis to play Oregon State.
Right on.
So Arizona, I believe, was a 2 seed going up against North Carolina, the number 5 seed. Coastal, the 13 seed, going up against Auburn, the 4 seed. UTSA, the number 4 seed out of the Austin Regional, going to UCLA. to play the 16 seed. Murray State, 4 seed out of Oxford, going to Duke, who I believe was the 2 seed in their regional. West Virginia, the 2 seed in their regional, going to Baton Rouge to play against LSU, which LSU almost did not make it out of their regional because of, was it Little Rock, I think? I believe it might have been Arkansas,
Yeah.
Little Rock. But I'm so glad that we did not have West Virginia as the 2 seed in our regional. I was so nervous because I'd seen so many mock games had West Virginia in the Knoxville Regional, and I said, please, dear Lord, do not let this happen because we will probably get beat by West Virginia. And I mean, you see, they're in the Super Regional now.
That's right.
But yeah, so Tennessee, Arkansas, Coastal, and Auburn, and then Florida State, Oregon State were the 3 of them where the top 16 national seeds are facing off against each other in the Super Regional. But obviously, no bigger one than Tennessee and Arkansas.
It's going to be fun, man. And thank you, Tennessee baseball, for once again making the football offseason just that much shorter.
Yeah.
That needs to be said because we are now squarely in June, almost second week of June, and we're still playing some baseball, baby. So, at that point, it's just July, August. That's football season.
Yeah. I mean, with baseball making it as far as they do, that makes it an easy transition because as soon as baseball is over with,
SEC predictions.
Exactly. We look in the summertime, we have our shows down to a science to where we put it out. Like we have a number where we count up the weeks to the start of the season, and we will do a certain number of predictions each week. Sorry. And then we do our position previews per week too. So like we have it kind of spaced out in that time to where as soon as baseball is over, we're pretty much talking about that until football season starts.
I love it. Michael, you got anything in closing, man? I got to wrap it up and go eat some dinner. I'm sure everybody else here needs to go to bed as well. So
yeah, so nothing else. Obviously, just make sure that you tune in to the big series this weekend. Appreciate all of you tuning in this evening. As we said earlier, this will be the new time for the Vol Fanatics Show. It will be Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We won't be going live on Sundays anymore, at least for the time being. It will be on Thursday nights. We are the official Tennessee podcast of the College Huddle. Make sure you check out the College Huddle YouTube page and go to thecollegehuddle.com as well, where you can find us as well as 80 plus other podcasts that are just like us for different respective schools in each of the Power 4 conferences as well as mid-major conferences. As a matter of fact, our Conference USA podcast pool, and I believe it's the American Conference, the podcast pool there. Got a lot of podcasts for those small teams. That's right there. So make sure you go to thecollegehuddle.com and you can check out all these different podcasts. We're very appreciative to be a part of that. But Skylar, do you have anything else before we close out this show?
Let's go whip up a hog pen.
You know what? I'm feeling pork chops and bacon for dinner the rest of the week this week.
I'm out of here. Let's freaking go. Go Big Orange.